And so the age old advice of better is the way you need to go. You need to be better. You need to be faster. You need to be cheaper. You need to be more effective. You need to have something better is not going to cut it anymore for two reasons. One, there's so much competition that there's always going to be someone better than us. So I can't just come better. I certainly don't want to come cheaper, right? Because that eats into your margins. So I can't be cheaper. I can't be better. Whatever other comparison type things we use out there are not what's going to set us apart. So my good friend Sally Hogshead has a great saying is better is not better. Different is better. And the fundamental belief that we need to have and understand and recognize today is that if anybody ever looks at your business and says, I'm comparing you to somebody else in the space, we've already lost the game. Instead, when someone comes into our world and gets on our sales calls and sees what we have to offer, there should be no doubt in their mind that they need to work with us because what we do is different. And so there is no comparison. It's not better. It's not cheaper. It's not more expensive. It doesn't matter. It is just different. So we need to create a category of one where we're the only player in the game, because this is foundation to all marketing. If we don't get this down, the rest of our marketing is not going to play. If we do get this down and figure this out, the rest of our marketing is going to really work well. Okay, so let's start with the category one framework here. We're looking at three elements. So as we're looking to really create a category of one, we're talking about different is better than better. We're trying to distinguish ourselves in the marketplace. What we want to understand here are three things. First is, what is our promise to the marketplace? You want to start by asking yourself, what is the thing that I bring to the marketplace that is different to everyone else? The second part of this is your position to the marketplace. In other words, when your market thinks of you, what is the position you hold in the marketplace? The higher you are perceived in your marketplace, the easier the sale is. Hands down, no questions asked. First, your promise. Secondly, your position. And thirdly, and most importantly, is your POV, or your point of view. But this is the process. It's, what is the promise you make to your marketplace? Got to be ultra clear on that. And is it different from what other people in your industry are saying? If it's similar, we've got some work to do. The next step up is your position. What is the position that you hold in the marketplace? Let me just give you a very simple example. Let's say this 21-year-old dude just graduated economics. He went through his financial advisor exam and he became a financial advisor, and he gives you advice, or he gives you a promise of, hey, if you invest with me, we'll get you an average rate of return of 7% year on year. Now, let's say that, for the sake of an easy example, Warren Buffett comes on the scene. You sit down with him and he tells you the exact same thing. Hey, you can work with me. If you invest in our investment portfolio, you can get a 7% year on year end return from the investments that you work with me. Again, if the promise is identical from those two people, the obvious question is, which person would you trust more and who would you end up working with? And the answer is obviously Warren Buffett. Why? Because his position, or the brand equity that he holds in your mind, is higher than the 21-year-old kid who just kind of graduated from whatever they graduated from. And so as a result, we put more weight on that. So obviously positioning is important. To do positioning, we need to understand what I call the credibility ladder. So first, on the very bottom of this ladder is what would be known as a generalist. Okay. So SEO marketing, pain management, signature programs, coaching, speaking, business, whatever. That is all generalist activity. And that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to just kind of sit in that generalist category. The second, moving up the ladder, is specialist. So now you're not just an SEO person, but you're an SEO person for people in very difficult niches. In the real estate space, a generalist is someone who sells all sorts of homes. A specialist is someone who sells a very particular type of home, over $1 million homes, or specific category, or beach homes, or whatever. I think you get the point of that. Now, going up another level is the expert. So this is now being seen as part of the positioning ladder as someone who's an expert in the space. So not only are they very good at what they do, they have a reputation of being very good at what they do. Experts not only teach the masses, but they also teach other experts, or specialists, or generalists. So in the real estate space, let's say again, the generalist sells everything, the specialist sells certain types of home. The expert is someone who focuses on a certain category. I think in real estate, and I don't follow that space very well, but is it Tom Ferry? I think is like the real estate coach of all coaches or something like that, considered, a true expert in the space. But where we want, or where the top of the food chain, if you will, is what we'll call a category king or queen. And the idea here, or the understanding, is that again, if we want to sell high ticket and we want to sell it effectively, we have to understand that not only do we need to have a strong promise that sets ourselves apart, but we need strong positioning. We at all costs have to avoid these two areas here. So if we're just a generalist and or a specialist, it's not going to cut it for us. And the reason for that is in these categories, there's high competition. We're competing on price. We're competing on I'm better, I'm cheaper, or faster, more effective, but whatever. When the word competition sits into our vernacular, we're already in a losing game. We can't be in the generalist / specialist category. Where we want to up level into is at least the expert category, so that we're seen and viewed by our peers, by our marketplace, by everybody as an expert, which is obviously super helpful. And then ultimately, if we can work our way up into category king and queen, then you own a category. And there's only one or two king or queens in every category. If I were to say the category of ride sharing, who's the category king or queen? Uber. There's only one. If I say the category of streaming on demand entertainment or television, who's the category king? Netflix, hands down. Other people try to come around. Disney Plus comes around, Hulu comes around. They try to compete, but they're competing. They're always going to be compared to the category king or queen, which is Netflix. So if I were to say any category, there is a category king or queen, and they get the lion's share of the market because they are positioned that way. So it's important for us to understand, to move towards that direction. Expert is good. Category king or queen is better. Don't stay in the specialist space too long. Again, too high competition, which means lower market share, which means much more difficult to sell your thing. Now, if we move up a category into expert, expert has lower competition, whereas general specialist has higher competition. But the key thing here is when you're category king or queen, zero competition. You win, you own market share, you dominate.